It's time for Q&A in the Kitchen. It's the podcast and YouTube series where tattoo artists and piercers talk about things that people that collect tattoos and piercings like to ask. Brought to you in part by Skin Kitchen Tattoo, the Axiom Body Piercing Studio, and Deaf Before Decaf. So let's join the panel in general. I missed my cue to raise my glass. We're drinking Fall as...
Fall is the F word.
Yes.
Mother effers.
We can't say it.
No.
I want to say it
I
so
think
bad.
that like demonetizes, right?
Yeah, it demonetizes, and then, yeah.
Okay.
I would like to I'd like to know exactly why they demonetize some videos, because that's ridiculous. Because I'll have one where I'll do on a genital piercing where, no problem, and I'll do another one, it's like, nope, no, you don't get paid for that. So
depends on, I think, the mood they're in that day, or which one you get.
It's the whole Lenny Bruce thing where it's like obscenities based on who the guy or gal in the room that gets horniest the fastest.
Right.
It's
so
just
true.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we
never
have
heard that before.
Michelle from Velvet Lotus Tattoo in Iowa City.
I'm not sure how that leads in, but
It was-
I'll take it as a compliment.
Well,
Are you trying to say?
Are you denying there was a comment about being surrounded with testosterone just minutes before
You're
we
right.
started recording?
You're right. It was
All
making
right.
me quite warm.
Okay, well, there you go then.
There's the
Now
lead.
there's context.
For all you tattoo fans out there.
That's right. So, anyways, speaking of that, we took a little break and we decided that it might be worth talking about what it's like being one of those
Girl things with breasts.
Non-cool dudes.
non-male, I guess, being a chick in the tattoo industry, and how someone might think that would be awful, or are there also some upsides to that?
What was your experiences?
What was your experience?
I get asked this a lot by college students. Being in a college town, they want to come do interviews and stuff like that, right? And I always feel like I'm disappointing them, because in the early 90s, I was like a rare commodity being a female tattoo artist. And I think that was like an attraction to people, because I would hear a lot like, oh, I want you to tattoo me because you're a female from both genders. Or nowadays maybe I should say all genders, but
There's just boys and girls.
Oh no, let's not get into that.
Now we're demonetized.
Way to go.
sorry, I digress. But yeah, it
Whatever
was
you define
it was
yourself
very
as.
much it was
nobody
very
cares as
much
as you think
exciting. It was very much exciting.
Mm.
The guy would want me to tattoo the female, their girlfriend or wife or whatever, because they felt more comfortable having me do the tattoo on the low back in the 90s. That was real popular.
The
Or
ass
the
antlers.
tattoo on the breast. Ass antlers.
Yeah.
That was my favorite, DaVo. I still use it. I still use that phrase you coined.
So depressing.
Ass antlers, you miss it?
I mean, I was this close to buying a Corvette, and then that term came out, and I have not done another lower back tattoo since.
It's been a long time.
Yeah,
unless I'm covering something up.
And there's nothing. It's a hot spot to get a tattoo. It's nothing. It's
And it does
really,
accent.
Especially if you
does
love
accent the body.
symmetry.
right.
Yeah.
And
Or
I have not
asymmetry.
done a lower back tattoo on a woman in
Not
probably
since, no.
10 years.
Yeah. Not
They're
since
really
that
rare
tramp
now.
stamp
Ever.
or
At least 3, right?
ass handlebar.
It's
or,
so crazy. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Thanks
That's
a lot,
okay.
Davo.
It's your mom's tattoo. That's the problem. You know that just as well as I do.
It's your
that,
mom's tattoo?
Yeah, they're not
you
cool
know,
anymore.
They're the second generation,
yeah.
and that's where mom got her tattoo. And I'm
Right.
not going to be like mom.
Partially, but Dad had one on his bicep, and you know,
The bob wire.
my dad doesn't
right,
have any.
right over the
Speaking generally,
Taz.
But
Nah.
And not only would the guys feel more comfortable me tattooing somebody that they might be, like intimate with, or the dad and their daughter, or whatever it might be, a lot of times females felt more comfortable
sure.
getting tattooed by me because it was maybe a little bit more intimate of a spot, or just that female bond. We do that with each other,
Yeah.
guys do too.
They sync up, don't they? They start bleeding at the same time, I think.
That's
You were
not quite
just
what I was
trying.
talking about, but yeah, it might
blue today.
happen.
You are.
You're
You are
blue
just
today.
trying.
Blue?
Yeah, you never heard that term where
No.
they go blue?
What's that mean?
This is an old showbiz term.
Okay, I'm
It
listening.
means that's the kind of more racy part of the
Oh.
of this.
Well, maybe that's what this podcast needs is a little bit of racy.
It comes from burlesque because they would turn on the blue lights when they hit the hot part of the
okay.
dance.
Oh, getting a little blue.
Yeah, getting a little
Get a
blue.
little blue over there.
I love burlesque.
I
I
think
love
part of
it.
it is
think you should take a
Michelle
shop
kind of
field
brings
trip.
it out of me.
I was thinking that too.
Michelle's kind of the closest thing really I've ever had to a sister. She's I've known her for so long, and we've been through so much together, like just normal life shit, just getting kicked in the balls or getting so happy about something you can't stand it. And we've seen each other at our absolute worst, and we've seen each other at great times. So I didn't grow up having a sister, but it would have been super cool to just beat the crap out of someone. So
See, I had two older ones, so it was the exact opposite.
Michelle just stumbled in, as she does, into things. And this time, she stumbled right into being
Stumbelina.
like my little sister. And so every time I see her, I just feel like I want to frickin' wrestle her and put her in a headlock. And that would be assault.
Yeah.
You can't do
Well,
that
these
legally.
days, unless we're playing like tackle football.
So I usually verbally, put her in a few headlocks.
It's a little emotionally put into headlocks. And so maybe being a woman, I would say, that's been something that happens. I feel like, and maybe it happens to all tattoo artists, all artists and everything, but I did have that where sometimes I felt like, the saying of like, oh, that's pretty good for a girl. I knew it
One of
was
my favorite.
I know. I know
it
it was like
works.
razzing me and like breaking me down but you would build me back up. In the long run, you would build me back up.
I tease a lot and I tease really hard. And you wear your heart on your sleeve a lot of times. You
got the instant reaction.
Oh,
man.
man.
I show it all over my
I
face
get-
and my way I hold myself.
You let me get to you so easily that I really don't have to try that hard. But I have to
Somehow
try
it's
harder.
fun for you.
I have to try harder to dig myself out of the hole I got myself in by saying a little thing that I thought was funny for 2 seconds, only to have to try to talk Michelle off a ledge for the next 3 days, trying to convince her that I was just teasing.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I take it to heart.
I've learned to kind of pick my shots, but now that she knows me as well as she does, she hasn't
It's
gone
fair
anywhere
game.
yet. So
Yeah.
Thickens the skin out.
Yeah, you
So-
just like the
does.
wrestlers.
I
Yeah, you
don't-
wanted
I
to
And
don't
show
like I
time
us.
to
say,
pick on
like
people I
being
don't
a
like.
girl that wasn't really different. My skin might have been thickened in ways that, like, you might say that it was what's the word when you're like anti-female? What do they call it? Yeah, misogynist. Like maybe some of this stuff came across misogynist and stuff, but it's not like I didn't razz, a guy for thinking with his cock, all the time or something
but his
like
buddies are
that.
gonna-
Can I say that? Oops.
No,
Well, his buddies are definitely going to do it.
by now
We're going to do it. We're going to razz him for thinking.
right.
We're totally going to hold it against him. But it's guys,
Well, did it feel like you had when you were working here, you had we had at one point we had 6 artists. So
7
There
was
were
the
7.
most.
So you had 6 older brothers or brothers that were following you around. Did you have that protective
Harassing.
feeling too at the same time?
Absolutely, I had a protective feeling. Whether it was when I was working here, I mean, I definitely had that protective feeling. There were, like Jack said, times that I was really down, just life stuff, and I was given that space to grieve or whatever it was I was going through, let's say, and you guys had my back, the guys I was working with had my back.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And the counter women too, that we had people at the counter. There were a couple of girls around, through my career at Skin Kitchen for sure. One big story I can think of goes back to Jade Dragon, where I felt protected. I was tattooing a gentleman's forearm, and when you're tattooing a forearm as a woman, one of the challenges is you're leaning over and your breasts can get in the way. And And, I do my best to, like, keep it out of a palm or something like that, but sometimes it might brush against somebody's hand. Well, this guy seemed to really enjoy that and kept, like, turning his hand and kind of squeezing the side boob a little bit. And I kept telling, I was being strong, except there was this English barrier. He spoke Mexican or Spanish. Sorry.
He speaks taco or whatever.
Spanish. just
we demonetized
We'll
yet.
figure it out.
So he was persistent, and I kept pushing his arm to the side, and Mike Belkey, who I mentioned earlier, was tattooed in the station next to me, and we had a little short partition wall, maybe 3 foot high or something between stations, and he's like real good about like eavesdropping. He knew what was going on, and so he's like he got up and got big. He wasn't that tall of a guy.
No, he was like Greek or something, wasn't he?
I thought he was
Are you talking about Balky?
Italian.
Who are you talking about?
Yeah, Mike Belkey.
Oh, Italian. Yeah.
Yeah, the greaser look. He was into the cars and stuff.
He was
he was a little broad, but he wasn't super tall. But he got up and like got big.
He could be. He
got really big. And he put this guy down like, you want me to come you do not want me to come over that counter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt protected.
I think any good tattoo shop, has that sort of family bond to it.
Because we're a tight-knit group. There's not a lot of us.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and that partially goes back to what we were talking about before about, hang around and see if you kind of click.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a really big part of it. If one of the best artists in the galaxy came in here and wanted to work here, but he just rubbed everyone the wrong way, there's no way he'd be worth having.
No.
Right. It goes back to just being aware of where
Each
everybody's, at.
It's the respect for
this
each other.
person's having a rough day.
Yeah.
Let's ask them what they want to listen to.
Well, just realizing that
whatever.
Always.
You're sharing a roof with them, you're sharing a work experience with them. The happier and the better they're doing.
Absolutely.
That's going to kick right back on you.
Yeah.
If you have somebody coming in lighting fires all day long and just being a grump and all that stuff, and you're not there for them, or you're just putting them down or heaping more on them, you're only just going to be hurting yourself. The shop and artwork and customers, everything's happier when everybody's happy.
Absolutely.
So if everybody's getting along and everybody's kind of on the same page, and you don't have this antagonizer going around. You just end up being that tight kind of family. So, you kind of have this.
Well, that goes with any business because, I know, like, when I've managed places, the minute there was a problem child, we got rid of them.
Yeah. And
if you didn't get rid of them,
you're going to have
you're going to end up having to get rid of everybody that works for you.
I know.
Yeah.
Because they're going to poison everybody.
It's so true. I've been a victim of that myself, and that's a very big, hard lesson to learn. Mm-hmm. It's like breaking up for the first couple times, like with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, it's like, there are good things about you, you're just not good for me, and even if that's true, that's not true to them, because they're mad because they're getting rejected, and that's your first feeling is, you're wrong, I'm perfect, there's no way, So when trying to let somebody go, you try to find every reason under the sun not to, because it sucks.
Yeah.
You're already the bad guy because you own the place and give them a job. So somehow you're the jerk. So then you're only gonna make sure that you are when you have to let them go. But it's the best thing to do, and that's some of the hardest lessons I've learned is that.
And a lot of times they need to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or they need that comeuppance to go. Yeah, your poop stinks.
Right.
You need to realize that, and you need to figure out how to interact with other people.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, we're just going to send you home to your cage.
Yeah.
Because that's where you belong. And having that wake up call, I had that a few times in my life, and learning that. It makes you a better person in the long run. It makes you a better artist. It makes you better with dealing with people. Because
I agree.
You deal with every personality you could possibly imagine.
Going back
spectrum.
to like apprenticing, that was part of apprenticeship. That's why you got treated so rough. That's why you were left up front to deal with the customers. That's why you had to schedule and do all the crap, crappy
hard
jobs.
jobs.
It is the hard jobs. Working up front is the hardest job in a tattoo shop. Dealing with the customers.
Yeah.
My part's easy, dude. If you handle all that other crap, and I just
Right.
got a tattoo on you, my job is easier.
Well, and it's
Way
because
easier.
their job is to make your job easy.
Right.
Because the final
Right.
product is the final product.
But back in the day when we apprenticed, that was the whole reason of apprenticing. You make them be the greatest front counter person there is, because from there they've got people skills, they got ability to handle all this crap that's getting dumped on them in every direction. This guy's passing out, this guy's puking, this guy's overflow the toilet, like you know what I mean. And once you get all that and you can handle it, and you're not like now you're ready to learn how to do your craft.
It does make you a better tattooer because
absolutely.
you're going to have your daily struggles. You're going to have a customer that's
Right.
difficult and all
Yeah.
that, and you still have to perform a permanent
Yes.
thing
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
somebody's skin
Yeah.
that they're going to live with for the rest of their life.
These
It's
people came here for that and a show, so to speak. Like it's an
a show,
experience.
an experience.
You got, like, you
whether
know-
it's a comfort you're providing,
Yeah.
razzing, being a good
All of it.
conversationalist.
If you're comical, if you're
yeah.
you see an
Telling the
understanding or an
same
ear to
jokes
listen
over and
to.
over and over again.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's you're the ringleader of this little circus I signed up for. For how
Absolutely.
many hours are going
It's
to
kind
be?
of,
you know.
it's like being an MC. Too.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
You
You're
have to keep
controlling.
people talking because I don't know about you guys, but that's how I judge how that person's going to
Yes.
react to what I'm doing.
Yeah, you kind of feel
Absolutely.
that.
And that
if I
hazing
get 'em
and
talking
that
and
front
everything
counter.
else,
That's how you
it's-
learn it. Yeah.
You know,
totally.
What's your
No,
worst
I'm
hazing story, Wesley?
I'm
You've
kind
been
of-
awfully quiet.
Oh, I'm kind of remembering some of the stories that I had there, and I was thinking back when you were saying there about customers coming in and how I just remember a couple of clients coming in and just being very irate. I don't remember what it was really about, but just being irate and calling names. And I remember thinking to myself that the worst names you're coming up with aren't even as terrible as the guys I work with. And they're like, they've already toughened me up. And I like them. And they hurt my feelings even more than you are right now. So this is, let's figure out the
It's to
problem.
prepare you to handle that kind of
You know?
stuff because it's gonna happen. You're gonna come across, an unhappy customer. You're gonna come across people that do drugs or drink or whatever. They're just had a bad day in their life.
Right.
Yep.
Groping
You know,
on.
it-
And you're
Yeah,
going to be judged
exactly.
more heavily with dealing with that irate customer than you will
Absolutely.
any happy customer.
Absolutely.
They're the people that are gonna talk the most because they got big mouths to begin with,
Right.
and they're gonna tell everybody they absolutely know, and they're the ones that write reviews that are
Yeah.
bad. Everybody else to kind of feel guilty if they don't leave a 5
Yeah,
star.
you need at least 5 stars to overrun any
Any bad stuff. Yeah.
bad. It's
Yeah.
just because like you said, a bad experience will tell everybody they know. Good
Yeah.
one, they might mention it to a few people.
If they're asked in the shopping
Right.
line, oh, who did that? Oh, yeah, I injected that.
So
Yep.
when you were mentioned earlier about basically kind of getting knocked down a peg or two is good for you, and to
Yeah, I think it's a life lessons everywhere.
right.
Absolutely.
Well, when you mentioned that, I think it's partially because Michelle's here and is kind of bringing up like the Jade Dragon days, but. I was working there. I don't know how long I'd been there because I wasn't there for that long, really, a year or something. But anyway, that's when I got the cover of Tattoo Magazine,
Oh yeah.
and I had no idea because the girl that ended up being on there, I had tattooed while I was living in Chicago or in Arizona, and at a shop that I was there, and I had only worked there for a few months. She had become friends with one of my friends. She was passing through. She spent about a week, ended up tattooing her, and never saw her again. She ends up on the cover of this tattoo magazine. And I literally picked it up while I was sitting at J Dragon. I went, I know her. I did that tattoo.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap! And
Yeah.
I've been tattooing like 5 years or 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, not that long,
Yeah.
to show how small the world of tattooing was. Jack Lowe from Des Moines, Iowa got on the cover of Tattoo Magazine and had only been tattooing like 5 years. So anyway, I'm like, wow, who would have thought, like I'm just on top of the world. So I go to my boss and I'm like, hey, check that out, Joe. Fat Joe is big old, God bless him, he's dead now.
Yeah.
I'd like to share a bottle or 2 or 3 of scotch with that guy and just talk to him. He was like
Yeah,
Jabba
now
the
that-
Hutt mixed with Capone.
Yeah. That's a great description.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it kind of in looks and attitude and everything else. But anyway, so I take it up to him and I'm like, hey Joe, check this out. And he's like, "Huh?" I go, yeah, look at that.
He
I
always
go,
grunted.
cover of Tattoo Magazine. I go, and that's a good tattoo right there. And he goes, well, that's not saturated. Those lines ain't complete. Just don't flow into that. Where's the rest of that line? And everything he says, I'm just.
Deflated.
Yep.
And literally, because he was right, but I was just blinded by everything.
The
I'm on the
excitement.
magazine
Right.
cover.
You know, she's a pretty girl, dummy. She happened to have a tattoo, and you happen to do it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right.
She's hot, you know.
Yeah.
So, but you know, of course, in my brain. So, but he goes, "Well, but it's a pretty good tattoo." He goes, "Here, redo your books here at 60%." So he just gutted me, you know, just left and rights to the body, and I'm holding my guts, you know. And then at the end, he's like, "Yeah,
Yep.
Good
you're
job.
all right. Get up.
Yep.
Good job."
Because-
you know, and but that really stuck with me, you know, like because this might be the only thing he ever really did for me other than just to give me a job,
Right.
you know. And that's
He knocked
how much
you
is
down a
that
bit.
worth? You know, that's
Right.
freaking awesome to
Yeah.
be able to not only have someone to do that, but be able to look at it like that and take it for something like they're giving you a gift.
Right.
They're not trying to really. They're trying to f with you.
Yeah, but they're
at
not
the
trying to
same
hurt
time,
you.
They're being real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was completely honest. And then
Yeah.
every time I looked at that cover before it got lost in the terrible fire of Plaza Lanes, you owe me money, you bastard. Anyway, every time I looked at that, I thought of Joe. I thought of it. Kind of put me in my place, remembering that. Yeah, you're on the cover, but not for the reason you know.
thought, yeah.
Not because that tattoo's good. You know.
Yeah.
You know, it just kind of kept me like.
Yeah.
You know what? People can say whatever they want. You know, people can go, "You're the best," or "I'm going to nobody in the world but you," but don't believe that.
No.
Don't make that make you think that
No.
you've made it anywhere.
No.
You know, that just means that what you're doing is making them think that, not that you can stop what you're doing.
No.
That just
Right.
means you got to keep on doing
You're
that.
doing.
so
You're
you
doing.
want-
You're
Just
going
push
the
it
right
harder
direction, but
so
keep
you
going.
get more
Right.
of that, and
Yeah.
so that you try to believe it. Because like when people tell me
Right.
that, I don't believe it.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And maybe I
It's
should a
flattering.
little
Well,
bit.
take it
It's
as
very
flattering. I take it as
Right.
flattering
Right.
not as, well, of course, or
No. I don't mean
or
to
Right.
take
any
it
other
that
kind
way.
of like
but
I,
just,
No.
like,
Yeah.
that I deserve that or expect it or anything
Right.
like that.
See,
For me, I
It's
feel
more
like
like
I'm put on the
credit
spot
that I
a
made
little
somebody
bit. I'm
feel
like, oh
good.
shit,
Yeah.
now,
Well,
Right.
man,
I better stay this game here.
Yeah, like
so,
I
Yeah.
gotta keep on.
I always look at it like, hey, you know, you're
God
doing a
forbid
good
I have
job.
a
Cool,
bad
I'm on the
day
right
one
road.
day.
I gotta keep going though. I'm not there yet.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know,
See-
just every once in a while, hey, you are on the right path, dude. You know, like, it's kind of all right, cool.
And see, like with him,
No,
he had already established your potential. He already knew you had potential. He just knew you could do better.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
he would have
Yep.
told you, "Oh, great job, how's it going?" You pat you
He
on the
would've
back
hurt
and
him.
sent you on your way.
That would have set me
You would have
back how far?
continued
Yeah,
to just
that
do
would've-
things
that
the
would've
way
set
you
you
were.
backwards.
Right.
I might get. That's pretty good for a girl, and that would like kind of knock me down a little bit, you know. But then I would also get from you like, "Wow, Michelle, the last 3 months, like something I don't know what it is, but you kind of grown leaps and bounds, you know." And it's like, thanks. I needed to recognize that a little bit so I can realize that I can make that accomplishment. That
Yeah.
means now
You're
I
making
can make the
progress.
next one.
Right,
Now
right.
I can push myself further for the next one.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, you haven't like ceilinged out, man. You can still go further.
Right.
That's a nice
right.
reassuring thing because once you feel like you've hit the limit, like it's that sucks.
Yeah, and I've had artists work
you
for
know.
me that are like that. They seem to get to this. They I don't know if they plateau in their ability or they just decide to plateau. They get to this point to where they get a little bit of a you know, clientele built up,
Yeah.
and they're okay, comfortable, and their work just sits there and stays and stays
Yep.
and stays. And I'll talk to them. Hey, you know, if you know, try this and it'll help with this and da 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 da. Sometimes they would do it, show that, yep, that worked and you can do it, and then within a small amount of time, they're
Back
just
to the
right
old-
Kinda
back into
forget
their old
it,
habits
yeah.
and just get comfortable and just do their whole thing.
Complacent.
And
I've
that
been
to
there.
me is the most
too.
frustrating thing because one, you know you should be doing, you know what to do, and you're choosing not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And two, why are you spending time doing something that you don't want to do?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
They get burned out. They get
Yeah.
Yeah,
dull.
don't do it
they're not,
anymore.
they're
Yeah,
not
do something
challenged
else.
anymore. They
Yeah.
don't feel like
Yep.
they're
Or at least-
accomplishing anything.
Yeah, well, in my
Right.
mind, because it's so boggles me, it's like, well, if you're going to be doing something, then you should be always trying to do the best you can at it. Or why the heck are you even doing it? And don't. So if you come to me and you're working here and you're doing something, and I know you can do it better, and you're doing it like that, does not compute. I go to a flash and cursor on a blue screen, like, then why are you
even doing this?
You know, you're at the wrong place. Because I'm hoping that you can teach me something, and I'm hoping I can teach you something that maybe you can in turn teach me. You know, that's
Right.
that's
That's
kinda
what
how
it
I
is.
got
That's
taught.
your
leap
intention.
forward.
And if you're not doing that, then you're not holding up kind of your end of things as far as I see it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll give you a job. I'll keep your chair as full as you can. I'll teach you everything I know as well as I can. But you got to fucking try.
You gotta try.
I think that being
Not just
a
coast.
female,
No.
going back to that, being the female in the industry,
Yeah.
is I felt shy somehow to ask questions or to share what maybe I knew and try to express, you know, maybe a technical side of tattooing or something that like I was boggled by or stumbled across something that worked for me. And I didn't necessarily share that. And I don't know if it was just being a woman or just a human thing where I felt like that value, it wasn't important coming from me because I wasn't as good or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
That was my own hang up, you
Right.
know? So I'm not saying like the industry did that to me as a woman, but maybe myself is...
But as a woman, you felt that way.
Right,
Well, and
right.
it doesn't help that you're a minority.
in the industry.
In the industry, yeah.
Not elsewhere.
I got
No.
you guys.
In the industry.
No.
Us
we're the
women got
minority
you
outside of here,
overpowered, yeah, in society.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know, and now, you know, everybody and anybody either wants to or is doing it. I mean, women obviously still are outnumbered, you know, in it, but
In our industry, but yeah.
but you know, I guess maybe it's crossed my mind, but not in this same kind of regard, I guess, but that, yeah, being a woman and being relatively attractive and being able to put your, you know, boobs out there, being that, especially before, now it's definitely about even Steven, but even before, men were getting tattooed way more than women were.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, to be a woman in that industry when all these men, you know, are getting tattooed and you...
It was like a dude's
You can
club.
do that. You both can do it, but you got those. Yeah, I'll have you do it.
And it would
So-
be
Yeah.
because I looked good, maybe, or
Right.
sometimes I've had people in my chair that were men that are like, yeah, this is my first tattoo by a woman. I really wanted to get tattooed by one because I feel that they have more of an attention to detail. I
Or
feel
a
like
softer
they'll be
hand or
gentler.
something.
Yeah, more
Yeah,
gentle, more
it's just a
compassion.
perception.
Yeah.
You know, he was very forward in saying like, I don't know this is necessarily true that you're gentler, but my perception,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
a woman, you're softer, you're gentler, you
Right.
know.
More
Yeah.
maternal.
Yep. Got that
Yeah,
nurturing
yeah.
side of the
That
tattoo.
bedside manner, maybe. They feel more comfortable. They don't have to be as tough.
Yeah.
And so I used to-
Maybe, I
yeah,
don't
know.
that coddling kind of.
You know, we had-
feel
we
that
had-
you-
Yeah.
We had
Some
Cher on
guys
the
like it.
show, and that was the thing. Whenever I talk to somebody about him, they go, "Who does your tattoos?" And I go, "Sherry Sears." Oh, she has a really soft hand. And no, she didn't.
Yeah, you
Her
tattoo.
tattoos felt pretty much the same as everybody else's.
Yeah.
but there
They're
was that
still there.
perception.
Yeah, I think, and that probably does. I mean, it's just like a placebo effect. Oh, it's a woman, it's not hurting as bad.
Yeah.
But I've had this woman tattoo me quite a bit, and it freaking hurts.
My first tattoo was by a
Give me
woman.
the rough spots.
Same here.
Tattoo
I know.
Kate
That's all I
tattooed
got
me in
left,
Virginia,
man.
and you know it wasn't because she was a woman. She was the only tattooer around.
Same here.
Up to that time, we
Yeah.
had like Little John had come through, but like it was back in those days, like when the '80s and stuff. When I was a kid, I remember my mom going to the laundromat, and I would sneak next door into the tattoo shop, open the door, and just to look in, and he'd be like, "You know what the f are you doing in here? Get out!" You know, and that's how you greeted everybody, whether you were grown or not. You know, the hell do you want? Like, you know, and that's just how tattoo shops were.
Right.
And so you know, but no, it didn't hurt any less getting tattooed by a woman than it
No.
did. I've been tattooed by several females.
But
Everyone I'm
regardless, if someone thinks it does, then
Yeah, it's like a
Let him
placebo.
think it.
Yeah,
Let him
whatever.
think it.
yeah, right.
Honestly, the
Velvet
new
Lotus.
machines,
The
with the new
Velvet Lotus,
machines
isn't
though,
it
you can go
sound
further with
song?
It's
that.
just so painless.
And with the new rotary machines, you can't. It does hurt a little
Right.
less, I think.
I think so. I think
If you're
I think it
using
does
them
too.
right.
Yeah, if
Because,
you're using them correctly.
you know, one of my hang-ups when I'm tattooing is that I know in my head that it frickin' hurts.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, if they
Oh, yeah.
they don't let me know, it's so much easier.
Yeah, and absolutely. The more
Absolutely.
You let me know that you're uncomfortable, the more
It's awful.
in my brain, and the less I can concentrate on what I'm doing. So,
Gotta really
That's
tap
why I like
into
tattooing
those
people that I don't
days
know.
everything was thrown at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
How you
don't
were
like piercing people I know.
No, I don't like
Not only
tattooing people. I
because
know really good.
I pierced my kid. That was the first piercing I did in the studio. That's his first piercing.
Right.
That didn't bother me as much, but when I did friends, I was always like, man, I don't want to hurt them. And on top of that, I know they're not going to take care of it. And I'm going to be around them for the next 6 months going,
Yelling
yeah,
at
that's
him
why
like your
that looks
father."
like that is because you're not taking care of it.
Yeah.
No.
Because you don't have the responsibility level, and I knew
Yeah.
that already.
Now and like you were saying, now with these bigger machines, I'll be, working on someone and, in my head going, I know this is very uncomfortable, but this is how it has to be done. So
Yeah, with
anyway,
the
I'll be
rotors.
close to the end of the tattoo, whatever, and maybe one of their friends will walk in and say, hey, how was it or whatever, and they'll go like, it wasn't bad at all. I'm thinking, man, these machines really must be kind of lightening the blow a bit, and
They are.
and they're just so much more efficient. You don't have all that bobbling around on the skin, and then it's poking, and then it's poking. I mean, they're just so much more precise, and you're getting so much more, just that repetition and that power that's going to penetrate the skin instead of those kind of half-assed ones that are just there to really just irritate the skin, cause damage, and not really implant any pigment.
Yep.
So I think just that, along with the pigments getting better and being able to do your job a little quicker and not sitting there, drilling for oil, helps. And so that helps, at least on my side, knowing that this machine, even though it's doing the exact same thing, it's doing it just a little
easier.
a little nicer, and it helps me be able to really saturate in those harder spots that are just a little more howy.
Yep.
So I think I always tattooed you with coils. Maybe I need to tattoo you with a rotary now.
You
You won't think I hurt so
got
much.
He's got some filler he needs, and we got those new batteries.
I want to get filled in. So yeah.
Sit down. Let's do it.
Right now, I'm in the middle
Whatever.
of a podcast thing.
That'd be great for the podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, you got the battery thing. We could just
Yeah, we
lay
could
it
be
out on
doing
the
it.
table.
What did I get myself into?
Well, the biggest thing with the battery thing is we need to be doing it in moving vehicles.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Off-road tattooing part 2.
Jackass style.
Yeah.
Jackass style.
So easy
I
to
bet we
do
put
now.
that
Yeah.
smiley face to shame.
We need to
So I
run a
don't know.
limo and just ride around and tattoo each other in the
Mobile
limo.
tattooing.
Conversion van or
Right.
mobile home with the thing, the sport area.
Can we stick a candy sign on the side of it too?
Oh
Jeez.
yeah, free candy.
I'm thinking flatbed truck.
Oh,
That'd be cool.
flat, just open air, huh?
The open air parade route.
Oh, DaVo, I think you're onto it.
onto
Just
something.
up there.
Hold on
With
tight.
Jumbotron behind it that shows what's
That'd be
going
awesome.
on.
All right, you find a financer and I'm in.
Anybody
right.
out there?
I'm down.
Yeah, buy us a flatbed and what, a big screen?
So
Yeah,
I don't know
whatever.
if we really
We could
answered
rent
the
some.
question, but we answered the question, didn't we?
What? What's it
About-
like being a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really
think we
don't
got a
really
good
know.
decision.
Really?
Yeah, ups and downs.
Kind
I
of-
mean, maybe I like to think I just never had, oh my gosh, I'm a girl, it's going to be hard because of that. So I think having that mentality of like not
Not focusing on it.
crossing my mind that
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a girl, so it's harder on me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel that it was harder.
You didn't make yourself a victim, so you weren't a
me.
victim.
There you go.
Plus, you were accepted by your peers, opposed to
gosh.
a situation where, yeah, the only reason I'm here is because I'm pretty. And
Yeah.
I have talked to female
yeah.
tattooists in the industry that have had experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
didn't
she's
respect
pretty.
them all.
I'm going to tell her I'm going to apprentice her and I'm going to stick her at the front counter for the next 6 months. She's going to pick up my dry cleaning and do all my personal
Yeah.
assistant stuff. And then when she finally pushes me to the point where she wants a tattoo, and I'm just going to tell her no and just send her on her way.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known 2 or 3 females that went through that.
Yeah, before I started tattooing, I was
And that can happen
able
guys,
to
too.
go
Yeah.
to a bunch of conventions, and over here, the guys talking to each other, and I was kept quiet because I didn't know anything, which maybe is why I always kind of continued to keep quiet until a little more recently.
We just
But-
thought you were quiet.
Yeah.
That or dumb.
Well, I couldn't talk much over your punk rock. thing
Yeah,
next
well,
to me.
whatever.
What's
I'm
up with
sorry I'm the only one that has good taste in music.
What's up with that one, David?
I'll hand it
Oh,
to
it's
you.
out of battery now.
Just
That's
stuck
fine.
with it.
We can keep rolling.
All right.
We still got 2 cameras. Do we have some more to talk about, or should we? tie
I
this
think
one?
that's probably a good segue for me to go pee.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Coffee. It makes you pee.
Yeah.
Yay.
Death.
It's good for
to
you.
decaf.
Death
by
before.
before.
You know
Death before
what?
decaf.
Death to
That was a good try.
Death to decaf is
Pee
Well,
after
we
decaf.
are now looking for a new coffee sponsor. So let us know.
sorry.
No, it's fantastic. It's
Sorry.
good.
We
it's
draw
good.
for a living. We don't read. That's cool.
I
Well, you
even
should
looked
always
to,
check
like,
your
read
spelling
it
on your
the thing.
tattoos.
Hooked on phonics.
Yep.
Doesn't work for everyone.
No, not for us.
No.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this leg of this travel through Tattoo Land.
This epic journey.
This epic journey through 5 Riri's sitting drinking way too much coffee.
On a Wednesday.
Thanks for having me, you guys. Really, it meant a lot to
Yeah.
be able to be here. Wesley, Jimmy, we didn't work together in the past, but when I come up for guest spots and you guys make that
always fun.
station all roomy for me and whatnot, that means really a lot. And Jack, that you let me to come back, let me
Always
to come
welcome.
back.
Keep
That's
always gabbing
awesome.
about you.
And
Yeah.
Des Moines
Yeah.
clients, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ask about you a lot.
Do you have any ideas when? Because they always ask me, and now you're right there. When, and are you gonna be here?
Okay, so I'll be here the next couple of days, but I'm already booked. And then I'm coming back in November for a wedding, and I'll be tattooing one day here on a Saturday. Come by and say hi. Sorry, I'm already booked. And then beyond that, it'll probably be spring, so I'm not driving I-80 on.
And you
in
can
the
always
winter.
email us or call us.
Yeah.
And if we have something
Yep.
lined up, we'll set it up, or you can message.
Follow
you.
Velvet Lotus Tattoo on Facebook,
Yes.
on Instagram. Follow Skin Kitchen on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
We're on TikTok now.
Ooh.
That made me so nifty.
It's
dude. I
mostly
don't even know what that is.
videos of DaVo dancing in a bath towel, but we're
Yeah,
working
I
on
know.
getting some new content.
But yeah, we'll mention one.
Now
after
there's a
I'm
bunch
back.
of them went over
Very
there looking
silent
for that.
in the
And
land.
you're disappointed.
Yeah.
We're playing Goodbye Horses.
Horses? What about
Goodbye Horses.
Goodbye horses in the background.
Lotion.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. What is
Get-
this, some
get me
Patty
the hell
Smith
out.
It's because I'm
references?
here. I love weird.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening or watching. We post these every other Sunday. We post the podcast version or the video version every 2 weeks. You've been listening to Q&A in the Kitchen, brought to you in part by Skin Kitchen Tattoo, the Axiom Body Piercing Studio, and Death Before Decaf, at least for now. It makes you pee. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you're listening to the podcast, please subscribe where you're listening to it at. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like thing and
Ring
the
the
bell
bell.
thing and the subscribe thing, and then your job will be done for a little while.
Send us money
Yeah, send us money. We love
so
money.
we can get a nicer table.
Yeah.
Gift cards.
I don't know. I like our table.
This was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, go do something else other than listen or look at us.
Have a good
Go
day,
outside
guys.
Have a good
have
day,
fun.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.